Okay, well, welcome to Diary of a Professional Tennis Coach, and I'm delighted to say that we've got Vuk Brajovic alongside. Vuk, we usually do this on a computer, and you are the main man from Serbia. If you know anything about Serbian journalism in tennis, Vuk is the chap you need to read all about.
Very kind,
we are here,
thanks.
well, it's obvious, but we are here really to talk about the most important person in Serbia. Is that fair to say?
It is. Well, historically, you may argue that Nikola Tesla was perhaps more beneficial for the history of the world, but you may argue, yes. And then,
so I'd love to know your thoughts on the Novak Carlos match, because that was, well, the one that I think we're all looking forward to seeing, wasn't it? And it came about in the quarterfinals, unfortunately, due to Novak's low world ranking, relatively speaking. And it was quite a matchup. I actually thought that Novak would win that. He now leads the head to 5-3.
Yes.
It's easy for me to say now, but I just felt that Rod Laver Arena was his court.
True, and I think he does have an upper hand with Carlos when it comes to the to matches with of special relevance, as was the case at the Olympics, as was the case now, because for Novak to be playing at this AO. Has, I think, protracted value in terms of how he will wrap up his career. I would even go to that extent to give this AO such importance, because if he does well at AO, this will provide a fine springboard for him for the upcoming tournaments and pretty much for the rest of the season. He will achieve, if he wins at the AO. Talking about the ultimate goal, not only that it's just he plays well. If he wins here, wins the 25th, surpasses Margaret Court, becomes the most successful tennis player of all time. This will be a great morale boost, a great self-confidence, hitch, and I think that he will be encouraged to move past all the limits which were brought about or brought in relations to him as of the end of last year, when he pretty much skipped all the tournaments after Shanghai and decided to give it a rest, so to speak.
Because of course Novak is going to go for a major 11 right here at the AO, 25 overall, and it would be his 100th ATP title. Now, Jimmy Connors has the record of 109, and colleagues of mine, we've been working for AO Radio in the bunker at Rod Laver Arena, and we've had this discussion. Does Novak care about the 109 record? Well,
2 years ago, incidentally, in Paris, when he won, I asked him the question. I said, are you going to go after 109? He said, yes. Yes, but let's not forget, it was 2023, a very, very successful year for him. One of the most successful. If you look back at what happened in 2022, the situation in Melbourne, everything that ensued. So he was on a morale high, very inspired, and one would think that he could have gone for it. However, let's not forget also that there was a snag, the Davis Cup match, painful Davis Cup loss against Italy in the semifinals, which disturbed his preparations for the season. He did not come to Australia on a high note. He was ill. Then everything which ensued afterwards, and which eventually led to the split up with Goran Ivanišević, was of that same nature, I would say. And it was a pretty jinxed year for him, except of course for winning the Olympic gold. Everything which happened before and pretty much afterwards was really subpar in regards to Novak's standards. So it remains to be seen. What is this extra fiber that Novak is made of? I just hope that we do have a lot of great tennis coming out from him in the next year or so. If he does well, at least one more major this year, I think he will be inclined to call next year the year of farewell. This year, I think he's going to go as strong as possible.
So he said, hasn't he, recently, that he wants major titles and he wants to play for the Davis Cup for Serbia. But those have been the two things. He's not really worried about Masters 1000s. He doesn't seem to be worried about the 109, because if he was, he'd be playing all the 500s and 1000s, wouldn't he?
Okay, maybe 2026 could provide the chance for that. That's what I was saying. If he does well this year, if he sorts out the remaining records, except for, of course, 109, plus we have Roger at 103 as well. Then maybe we'll see him go for that. But let's also not forget he did mention that he would like to play Olympics in LA in
again,
2028.
he did.
So you never know
ridiculous.
with Novak. He has this tendency of bringing up, putting the bar higher and higher at the moment in which he, achieves one of his, select great results. So we'll see how that goes.
That would be ridiculous if he plays in LA. My final question to you: we were speaking a little bit, weren't we, about Novak and Andy getting together? Yes. In my assessment, anyway, I think Andy has just been a fantastic coach. I've been watching him closely on the sidelines, as I'm sure you have as well.
Yes.
And I think the dynamic is working really well. Your thoughts?
I would say exactly the same. I'm very pleased that they have a matching nature.
Yes.
I mean, the way they performed on court, the passion, the tenacity that they gave to the game was very similar in many ways. Also, the way that they spoke to the box, there was a lot of concern, how will Andy react in this new role of being the recipient of this. But there's an interesting catch here. Novak talks to his box in Serbian, and I'm sure that somebody translates this to Andy, and maybe some of these words are actually directed at Andy, but in Serbian.
Yes.
Just so that the microphones don't pick it up, and then we know what happens in those cases. So. We'll see. I I think that what has been shown here is a great start. Perhaps we can see something even nicer grow out of it in the coming tournaments. And this is why I'm saying for Novak in 2025, AO could be a great springboard. You're right. It is the 11th tournament, 11th Norman Brooks Trophy he'll win here, the 25th Grand Slam, the 100th ATP title. But I think with Andy he can go even further. And I love the fact that these guys know each other really well. There's a very fine, subtle emotion between them. They've actually discovered even more attaching items of their character in the meantime. So I think the best is yet to come, and I'm very happy that Novak has positively surprised us all in this way.
Yeah, it's like a perfect Serbian-British partnership, isn't it? It reminds it of you and I. Brajovic, perfect ending. And thank you very much for watching Diary of a Professional Tennis Coach. You heard it here, all about the Serbian legend that is Novak.